What's up guys, welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be recapping on the weekend of the Six Nations, what we just had, round one, recapping all the matches, what has happened, and all the highlights from the weekend. So first off, can I just say this weekend was probably the most surprising weekend in terms of results and what happened. So I'll start off with the big one, and probably the most disappointing one for me, the Ireland and England game. I can just say this, firstly, I have to say well done to England. They thoroughly deserved the win. They started strongly and they finished strongly as well. They didn't let Ireland get a foothold in the game. They didn't let Ireland play their usual game, and it paid off for them in the end. So you have to congratulate them. Even though Ireland, I am an Irish fan, and it's hard to say these things about England because we're not the biggest fans of them. But you have to say well done to them because they completely blew Ireland away. So yeah, there was a few things in the game that Ireland would be very frustrated about. Just firstly, the amount of mistakes we made, and I don't think that was entirely our fault because England put us under a lot of pressure. For example, Elliot Daly's try, I think the second try they scored, they put in a wee grubber behind Stockdale. Stockdale had to turn around and try and collect it, but he dropped it, and Elliot Daly touched it over the line. So that wasn't entirely Jacob Stockdale's fault because he had to turn around and he was under pressure from Jack Nowell, one of the wingers and stuff like that. So it's hard to say that was entirely his fault. Also, what was it, their third try, I think, the one where they kicked it over the top and Henry Slade caught it and scored. I think that was a big call, because there was a bit of talk about if it was offside or not. It was very close, but if I think the referees usually go for the attacking side and they will allow tries, like especially back earlier in the game when Makavinapola dived over and he scored his try, but it was disallowed because he double movement, and I think that was a fair call. But I think just in terms of how England were playing, they sort of deserved to have that try, even though it killed Ireland and just ultimately knocked them out of the game. So yeah, very disappointing for Ireland. We had the lead once in the entire game, I think, after Cian Healy's try. We were 10-7 up, but from then England just came at us and yeah, just didn't let us have any of the ball. And yeah, but I think for this game it really was disappointing because well, for our selection we didn't have Rob Kearney at fullback, and I thought this was a really strange call because they put Henshaw at fullback. Yeah, he has played fullback for Connacht for a while, and he's played fullback once for Ireland, but the rest of the time he played centre. And I think that was a bad call to put him back there because you need a guy who's played fullback most of their career, like either Conway or Will Allison even, just to get those guys also into the just to give them confidence in being picked in a big game. and also that they're familiar with that position. Henshaw hasn't played there for like, I don't know, he's been with Ireland for what, 7 years or something like that, and he's played fullback once for them. So I think that was a bit of a bad call from Joe Schmidt to put him there, because a lot of times he did make a few mistakes, and I'm not saying it's his fault. I think it's the coach's fault, because he shouldn't have put him there. Firstly, like for example, for Henry Slade's try, they chipped. He wasn't in the right position because they chipped over Stockdale. He couldn't do anything about that, Stockdale, and Henshaw was nowhere near that position to cover the ball. So yeah, that was a disappointing moment. There was a lot of handling errors, from not just Henshaw, from the whole team. Just nothing went right for us that day, and we didn't attack England. We didn't go after them. They went after us. So you have to just look at it and say England were the better team that day. And yeah, it's tough for Ireland to take this one, but we're gonna have to move on to a tough game against Scotland next weekend, which we have to win, or we're pretty much out of the Six Nations. So yeah, so that was the first game, well, the last game of the weekend, but it was probably the biggest game of the weekend. So we'll move on to Wales versus France, or France versus Wales even. A very, very surprising game as well. Everybody said that France were disappointing last year, and they were. Lost to Fiji at the end of the year in the autumn. They didn't have a great autumn, and they didn't have a great Six Nations either. So everybody's thinking, what do France have to do to get back into their good days? So they started really well against Wales, scoring 2 early tries. I can't remember the try score. One of them was Uge and the other was Picamo. So they shocked Wales, and they were 16-0 at half time against Wales, and we thought, okay, France could shock Wales here, but suddenly they just switched off, and Wales came back, scoring an early try by their scrum half, and then another lucky try. This was unlucky. There was a lot of errors this weekend by teams. Next one was an error by Uge. Wales kicked it, and Uge was covering back, and he dived on the ball, but it slipped out of his hands, and George North picked it up and scored. So it was very unlucky for him. I felt sorry for Uge because he played well, but that let Wales back into the game. And then when you thought France had an attack near the end of the game, and you thought, okay, they could be in here, for some reason their second row or something like that threw probably the wildest pass I've ever seen, and George North just intercepted it and scored under the post. So, and that killed the game for France, which was very disappointing. I felt sorry for France because they played so well in the first half, but they just switched off and let Wales back in. So yeah, that was the second match. So the third match was Scotland versus Italy. So yeah, this one was pretty simple to predict. Scotland did win. They started well, started fast, and scored a couple of tries with their winger. Kinghorn scored a hat-trick, so he's a very dangerous player right now. And then Stuart Hogg scoring one, and then a few other scores. So they got the bonus point. Italy were disappointing in the first half, but in the second half, near the end, they showed what they can do, and they scored 3 quick tries at the end to get to 20 points. So they lost 33-20, which was not a bad scoreline in the end, but still Scotland winning. But Italy showing what they can do. showing improvement in their play. So it's encouraging to see from them, but Scotland finished the game pretty early, so there was no danger for Italy coming back. So yeah, so that was round 1 of the Six Nations. That's all the highlights there. So thank you guys for watching. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel if you want to get more rugby content. There'll be more Six Nations predictions and previews and recaps of the tournament. And then at the World Cup at the end of the year, don't forget, I will be giving predictions and highlights and montages coming up. So stay tuned for that. So thank you guys for watching, and please like and subscribe again to get more rugby content on this channel. Cheers guys.
There's one thing I can tell you for certain. Lately I've been searching for my purpose. Will you show me where the earth is?